In this video, I will talk about things that you must know before taking a PhD degree. It is so important and depends on whether you have wasted completely 4 years of your life or made it an extremely useful one in your life. So please listen carefully. First of all, a PhD degree consists of you conducting a research on something that no one has ever solved before. No one in this world knows the answer to it, and as big as it might sound, actually, often your research or contribution you make in PhD to solve this unsolved problem is not that big. If a supervisor, for instance, makes you solve one of those Millennium Prize problems, where just by solving that single problem you can immediately win $1 million, I'm sorry, but this is an indication that you have chosen a wrong supervisor. If your supervisor makes you do a research topic that is extremely narrow, such that only 2 to 3 people in this world does it, and the things you will learn through this research has almost no application, then I'm sorry, you have chosen the wrong supervisor. If your supervisor provides you with a research question that they absolutely don't know how this might turn out, for example, that this might be an incorrect research question itself, but they don't even know this, then I'm sorry, you have chosen the wrong supervisor. I think I've pretty much given you a hint on what you first need to do if you're considering studying a PhD degree, and that is finding a good supervisor. Now, the type of supervisor you're looking for is someone that is caring for you and your career. Someone that gives a damn about where you will be and what you will be doing after your PhD degree. Just for your information, many PhD students either choose to go academic, so become assistant professor at university, which later will become associate professor and professor, or become a researcher or analyst for a company. Knowing this, you want to find a supervisor that gives a damn about what skills you will have acquired as a researcher after your PhD degree, so that you can become a great researcher and do many good things for the society, solve many unsolved problems that can benefit the society. Unfortunately, there are many academics that do not give a damn about this. They don't even talk about what you want to do afterwards, which is really important because often a PhD student doesn't really know what they were wanting to do afterwards, and even if they know what they have to do during this PhD period to get themselves in a better position for getting such a job. The reason why a professor or often someone in a lower position such as associate professor may want to be your PhD supervisor is because it looks good for their CV. So often with people that are associate professors may write in their descriptions online something like, please come and talk to them if you want to consider doing PhD or masters, etc. Or you might have academics, so for example, associate professor encouraging students directly to do PhD with them after doing their masters. As by what I have heard, having one PhD student is better for an academic's CV than having 5 master students. And for one's academic life, who is not yet a professor wanting to get promoted to a higher rank, supervising students is somewhat required for that promotion. So it is likely that if you want someone to be your PhD supervisor, they will probably say yes unless they're already very popular. Now that you have understood that you're just someone who may merely be benefiting your supervisor's CV, you'll be surprised at the number of supervisors that will just want to make use out of you. Or if they don't, they just don't care. Now that you're their student, all they care is for you to hand in your thesis as fast as possible so that they can tick their box off in their CV to having had supervised you. And that is it. Unfortunately, I've been in this situation before where supervisors have told me to just hand the thesis in when they know that there were so many things to fix in the thesis. They obviously didn't care about the outcome. Remember, when you're graduating your PhD and you're looking for a job that is related to your PhD degree, so what you've done in your PhD, then your PhD thesis is almost everything that tells you about you. Of course, with your published papers on the side if you have done them. So basically, it is not an overstatement to say that your PhD thesis is like your resume and the basis for what they will judge of you, whether they will hire you or not. It is not an understatement to say that there are quite a lot of academics that want to spend the least number of hours as possible to their students. This means, for example, when you ask them some questions, then they just may say that they don't know or don't even bother to look at what your question is. I mean, what can a student do if their supervisor behaves in this way? Nothing. Your PhD degree should be a study that helps you find the better job. You're not doing a PhD degree so that you can do jobs that a bachelor's degree can take you. Now, I'm not saying that you can't do that. That is, sure, of course, if that is your dream, go for it. But what I'm saying is that you're doing a PhD degree so that your job opportunities are at a wider spectrum and you're at a better position than you were with your bachelor's degree. The problem is that if you meet a bad supervisor, that wide spectrum is unfortunately not going to be available for you. Let's take a mathematician for a start. Note that an academic, so professor or assistant professor, has their own research interest and field. So in terms of the major mathematics, they have their own small area of field that they're going to be working on. If there are only 3 people in the world that only work on this field, then basically after 4 years of your PhD degree, you have only 3 people to ever ask for a job. You would have heard that people often apply for jobs at 100 or 200 places just to get a single interview. So for you, you've basically wasted your time and money. People don't seem to understand how expensive it is to be studying PhD. For example, suppose that after studying master's degree, your salary is about $50,000 per annum. Then you cannot just calculate the cost of studying a PhD for 4 years as the tuition cost. You also need to include that you have given up your 4 years of working with 4 years of studying. So on top of your tuition cost, it has costed you $200,000 because that is the money you would have earned if you had worked 4 years instead. The aim of your PhD, in my opinion, is for you to learn about research. You won't know yet what type of research field you are interested in. What you know even after PhD is very small. So the aim of the time spent in your PhD is to grind and develop your skills in research and, more importantly, prepare you for jobs that you're going to take afterwards. Of course, if you're lucky that after doing a narrow field of research in your PhD, you manage to find an academic position, then it may mean that you're going to carry on doing research that you've been doing during your PhD for the rest of your life. But in my suggestion, there are so many wide range of things and research fields out there that you just don't know yet, so you may not want to just be doing that fixed area research for the rest of your life. As much as you should be doing what you would like, in my opinion, what exactly is your PhD research topic does not matter too much. That is, what kind of new unsolved research problem in your area that you're considering doesn't matter too much. What matters more is that you look into a problem that is widely applicable and widely wanted in various different fields. In addition, you grind and learn topics on the side so that you have the skills to get jobs. For example, in your spare time, this may be to learn computer programming languages such as Python or C++ for your possible opportunities to get a job in AI, which is a booming field these days. Or do a project in mathematics that has statistics involved so that during your PhD, you can learn some statistical skills which may provide you at a better position for finding jobs. Of course, it shouldn't be any statistical skills, but statistics that will be useful. Hence, one way to find out what skills are required for you is to go online and look for postdoctoral positions. Examine what type of research fields you may be interested in and keep this range relatively large. Remember, you don't know much at this stage before you start your PhD, so the research field you're interested in now may not be the only research you're interested in later. Then search up what skills they're looking for in a PhD graduate for this postdoc position, and after perhaps having looked at 50 to 100 postdoctoral positions, you can then examine what kind of skills you may need to have acquired throughout your PhD degree. To wrap up, in this video I mentioned largely 2 things you need to consider when you're considering studying PhD. One is to find a supervisor that actually gives a damn about you finding a job that is related to a PhD degree afterwards, and also that actually gives a damn about you being a good researcher for the society. Second is to not be so dwelled on the particular research topic you want to do because of the lack of knowledge you have in the major that you're doing, and also because your aim should be to learn a lot and also have the skills that are desirable for jobs after, which also includes the skills of being a good researcher in general. Hence, the question remains, how on earth are you out of a sand in the desert supposed to find that needle which is a good supervisor? The truth is, you as a graduate student, so a master's student, will probably not be able to know this clearly. It seems that students tend to first go for academics that are high achieving, so our professors have received many awards, written lots of papers, etc., etc. I'm sorry, but this has nothing to do with how caring they're going to be for you. In addition, I've realized that those academics that seem so enthusiastic to teach in lectures, and also who seem so kind when you go say hi to them when you pass them by at corridor, does not mean that they're going to be caring supervisors. One way that I thought of was this. Ask those academics that you're considering to be your supervisor for their ex-students' thesis. Not one, but try to ask for some. If those theses look very well written, it is likely that your supervisor does give a small damn about their students. This is because it is more unlikely than it is likely that students do extremely good research and write extremely well-written theses on their own. This likely had required some sort of support, whether on presentation of the thesis or the research itself. Another thing is also try ask them what those students are doing now, where they are at now. If they have no idea, it may indicate that the supervisors aren't so great. Often students tend to thank their supervisors for all the help given once their job is found. Also, see if they're collaborating with them now also. This will also reveal some about the nature of those supervisors. Students who have had good relation with their supervisors will likely to be collaborating, so write papers together for years afterwards also. I hope that this has helped you in some way about finding a good supervisor and also how you will study your PhD. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!